Hey everyone, Zach here, and welcome to lesson 22 of this series, Learning C++ by Making Games. In this video, we'll do our variables, or the second section of our pseudocode. That said, this series has been brought to you by my Patreon sponsors like Nemian Games. And all of that said, fire up your project and let's get started. Alright, so here we are back in our project and we have our start screen already. There are a couple of things I want to do now that we've gone through arrays and our stream ins. So what we're going to do here, actually we don't have more to go there. I've decided there's a better way to do this. What we are going to do, and it's not really 8. I don't know why I wrote that. It is, actually no, it is really 8. I was right. We're also going to get rid of this. In fact, what we're going to do is up here, and we're going to initialize this to null. So we want a null value in there. All right, so what we're gonna do is do this second section, and then in the next video we'll take care of that third section. So let's just copy this for a moment. Let's collapse that down. We're gonna paste this down here, and I'm gonna quickly comment this out with the Control KC buttons. And there's another small change I want to make. Everything in here is nicely lined up. Now we won't get this to all properly line up, but we can do something about that. Push that actually one over and push this one over as well. And let's do 2 on that side and 2 on that side. We'll do one more. So it's a little bit more even looking, but it's a very minor change. All right, let's get to what we need to take care of for our games. We need to set our variables. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a comment down here and I'll delete the stuff at the top in a minute or as we go. So 2. So I just want to make sure I keep the same naming practices of my comments, just so it's easier to read. So 2, declaring variables used in game. Actually, we're just going to say setting variables used in game. All right. So the first thing we want to do is, there should be a space there as well. It's going to bug me. I'm going to very quickly put that in because otherwise I'm going to need, oh no, there is a space there in the original. I'm not sure why it's not in here. Okay, whatever. So we are going to declare a variable, an integer, called tries, not tries and. It'll be int tries, and we'll declare it at a value of 6. And this is the number of attempts to guess correctly. All right, then we are going to have a character called guess, so char guess, and we're not going to have anything in there. The letter guessed. Then we need a bool called correct guesses. So correct guess. And we're going to set that to false. There we go. Oh, sorry, that F should not be capital. There we go. You could also set it to using the 1 or 0. I just prefer false because I always seem to struggle with the 1 and 0 approach. And then finally, we're going to, not finally, and then next we're going to declare a list of characters. In other words, an array of characters called previous guesses, and set that to a size of 7. Actually, no, it's not really 8. I was right earlier when I said that. I, for some reason, was thinking I had the number, a different number in there, and I'm going to delete this from here. See, I'm doing the +1 error myself now. So what this is our char previous guesses. And the size is 7, and we're going to initialize this with a null statement. Of course, I need to put the correct slash in there for this to work, and I put this in the wrong spot. There we go. So an array of guesses, and needs to be one longer than the user can guess. So that's one longer than that. Now, the next thing we're going to do, so we've taken care of all of this. So we've declared our variables. Well, we actually need to do something to make our previous guesses slightly more useful. We need to do a for loop. So we're going to do for int of I. We only need this for the loop, so we're not declaring it outside the loop. It's only local to the loop. I equals to 1, semicolon. When I is less than 6, actually, we're going to set that to 0 because we do need that first spot as well. We're going to iterate through I, and then we're going to increment. And what we're going to do is we are going to go through our previous guesses. And at that index that we're looping through, we are going to set the value to a single dash mark. So all that's happening is we're changing everything 0 through 5, because once we're at 6, it's equal to, and that's going to be the last entry in our size there, and we're setting it to a dash. Again, we want that final entry to be that null terminator. All right, so that takes care of this. And the next thing we need to do is we need to make a variable for the word we are going to guess. So we need to add our string header in. So let's go up here, and we are going to add include string. There we go. And we can go down here now, and we can add in our string. So remember, that's std string, and now we have a variable type. It's of type string. We need a name for this variable, and I think I've named it word. There we go. So we now have a variable called word. I am not going to initialize anything at this point. And we also need a list or an array of strings that we're going to call word list. And we are going to set this to 100. That actually should be 100. That might explain something in my test file. Okay, so to do that, we're going to do std string. So that's the array type we're working with. And it will be called word list. And the size of that word list will be 100. All right, so let's just comment this out, and commenting is good. So this will be the word the player has to guess. And it would also be helpful if I didn't have typos in that. This is when I really like spell check, by the way. And this is the array of 100 words the word can come from. And this loop sets our previous guesses to dashes. All right, so there we go. We now have taken care of our declaring our variables. So if we look at what we have to do next, we have to get our random word, and we'll take care of that in the next video. So we'll be using the f stream, and we'll be using our loops and our srand and rand functions. So that said, if you've enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button down below. It really does help this channel out. And if you want to be here when we move on to the next part of this game, make sure to hit the subscribe and notify icon. And also, consider becoming a supporter on Patreon. All of that said, I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.